Okay, I'm telling my friend Chip a story about how hard it is to get a base on an airplane. Okay, here's Chip.
Yo.
Okay. So I was telling him how hard it is to get a base on an airplane. Then I was reminded about a story when I was in Hungary. Okay, let me catch you up. I was in Budapest, Hungary on National Day. I think that's August 20th. And I was trying to get to the city of Cluj, which is in Romania, but I had made the mistake of going down there and asking to get a plane ticket to go to Cluj, not understanding you're not supposed to do that because they don't call it Cluj. They call it by some Hungarian name. What did I call it? I called it. I made it up because I don't even think I'm saying the Romanian name right. But because I didn't ask for it in its Hungarian name, I didn't get a ticket. But while I was there, I saw this Hungarian folk ensemble show up because it was National Day and they were sending all these bands out into the Hungarian hinterlands to go perform for the dance troops. So the dance troops and their bands would be lining up to go get their tickets at the ticket counter there in Budapest at the airport. So I noticed, I was like, wow, I noticed this. They weren't even wearing street clothes because it was a day trip. So they've got their get-ups on, their fanciful get-ups with their vests and their hats and such. I'm like, all right. So I noticed that the band shows up and the bass player's there and he's got his bass and he's wearing his get-up and he's got his bass with him. And he has nary a case, right? Like I said, he has not even a soft bag. In fact, he has his bow and he's just got it shoved right in the F-hole, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I like the cut of your jib, sir. Yeah, I'm going to stick around, however, because I'm going to see how this goes. Because I have been trying to traverse the great wide world with a string bass my adult life. I have some fanciful tales about trying to get a $600 plywood bass packed into a $400 Reunion Blues gig bag into a seat on a plane going across the ocean. I did that twice back when they would still let you do that, but that's for another time because my meds haven't kicked in. Oh, back to the airport. So I see this fella and I go, man, I'm going to have to watch this go down. So this is what happens. They get up to the ticket counter. Guy hands him the ticket. And like the guy at the ticket counter like reaches down, pushes a button or something. And then out from the back, a door opens up, right? So a door opens up. And these two fellas walk out with like, I don't know, Chip, they were like lab coats or something. I'm serious. They were like, so, and they had these little white caps on and they had these like white lab coats. And I'm not making this up. They had white gloves. And they walk right over to the bass player and they say something to him. And then the two of these dudes get on either side of the bass and they gingerly and gently pick it up and walk it back behind the counter somewhere. And I'm like, what the hell just happened here? Like, oh my God, what the hell just happened here? Now, it wasn't until years later, I was on tour with the Boban Markovic Orchestra. And we had been doing some work with them, and they're a brass orchestra, and they have the big brass tubas they call bass truba. And now, see, those guys never had our cases, too, because they always worked under the Soviet system, just like Hungary. And then they explained it to me, is that under the commies, they respected art and culture for some reason. Could you believe this?
It's amazing.
I don't know. It's the strangest thing. That
How could such a system fail?
How could they fail?
I'm just wondering.
Right, so evidently they had in every one of them Ruski-made Aeroflot planes, they had specialized compartments built into them that were pressurized and actually had slots in them for like pianos and drum kits and string basses and even bass balalaikas. I kid you not. Because specific slot just for the bass balalaika, spreading that Russian doctrine all the way to Siberia and Irkutsk. So the fact was is that they had a different attitude, so the musicians didn't feel it was incumbent upon them to protect their instruments in flight. It was incumbent upon the state. So unaware of our doctrines and the system that we labor under, when Bobo Markovich came to Chicago, they just checked their bags. They just checked their bags, you know what I mean? And well, it didn't go well, friends. That's all I got to say. They had to find a repairman. Same thing happened with Fanfare Cheo Carlia when they came. The Gypsy Caravan came to the United States, and I remember their instruments were so wrecked that I actually bought them from them at the end of their tour in Houston. That instruments are really wrecked when a bunch of Romani instruments sells them to a Jew at the end of a tour. Actually, there was a documentary being made about that tour called Where the Road Bends. Look it up. It's on Netflix or something. It's about the Gypsy Caravan tour when it came to the United States in 1996 and 1999. And there was a scene cut from that, and that scene was actually me negotiating for those horns. I ended up with them, but maybe I shouldn't have. Oh, by the way, do you mind if I actually post these? I'm thinking about telling these stories. What do you think, Chip?
Go for it. Go for it.
It's a good idea?
Yes, indeed. That's how the kids communicate.
It's how they communicate. I was thinking about writing a book. Now I'm just going to post videos.
Yes.